Alright, so this is the newest version of ninjas that I've been working with. This is a Tribute Ninja deck, totally original idea, and it works really well. This isn't really the right format for it, to be honest. If this format was more like Duelist Alliance format before new challengers came out, then this deck would just totally dominate. You would win basically every game against Burning Abyss and Shadalls that you played with this deck. But currently, the matchups against modern Burning Abyss and Shadalls are both kind of unfavorable, and Clifford's is also kind of unfavorable, so it's not the format for it. All three of those decks just OTK too readily, and it's too easy for them to get over Majesty's Fiend. So it's not the best matchup, really. So I know I'm personally just going to table this deck, and maybe I'll pull it out at some later time when the format is more favorable. So the core of the deck, still, it's Hanzo. You get searches off of Hanzo and helps keep up your card advantage. The fact that you search when it special summons is very relevant in this deck, because you can search for Red Dragon Ninja, a tribute monster. So this actually lets you play less tribute monsters than a normal tribute deck. Because if you have a dead Monarch Stormforth in hand, it's really easy to special summon Hanzo, search Red Dragon Ninja. All of a sudden, your Stormforth is live monster removal. So it's really consistent actually, just because you have a searchable Monarch essentially is what it boils down to. You're still playing one Upstart Golden Ninja. You don't need two in here because you can search the Red Dragon Ninja also, but it's really important to have the one just because you really need it sometimes for the rank 4 plays. It still comes up, especially against Clifflords. Red Dragon Ninja is the second main monster in the deck after Hanzo, so this is kind of like Ryza, except it's actually better in this deck. So when this card is summoned, so it activates its effect on Tribute Summon or on Special Summon. So Monarchs, you have to Tribute Summon to get their effects, but you can get Red Dragon Ninja's effect when it's Special Summoned, and it is Winged Beast, so you can just Special Summon it from your deck with Transformation. That comes up a lot. During end phase, you can use this to set your opponent back a turn and prevent them from having any traps. So it's really good. Okay, what its effect actually is, though, is you have to banish a ninja or ninjutsu art in your grave, and then you target one of your opponent's set cards, they show it to you, and then you get to put it on the top or bottom of the deck, and they can't chain it in response. So it's kind of like a Night Beam combined into a Spinner. So usually what you want to do is you want to put it on top of your opponent's deck, because then you know what they're drawing, and you can play around it easily. The only time you don't do that is if you just don't have any way of playing around whatever you're spinning. So this is it's a +1 on summon, basically. And then play 2 Majesty's Fiends. I would play 3, but well, aside from the cost factor, I only actually own 2. But even if I did own 3, I would still only play 2, because it's not very good against Cliffhorts. The whole Tribute engine is actually bad against Cliffhorts. I actually side out 1 Red Dragon Ninja, both Majesty's Fiends, all 3 Monarch Stormforth, and the Vanity's Emptiness against Clifford. So I'm basically siding out the entire Tribute engine. So I can't afford to side out 3 Majesty's Fiends. I just don't have the side room for that. But in every other matchup, Majesty's Fiend is like an instant win. If they don't, sometimes they do have outs, but I have won so many games just by summoning Majesty's Fiend and just attacking, and my opponent couldn't do anything. This is one of the most powerful cards right now. You still have on 1 Apex Avian. It's not as important here, but it is still the best target to pull out with a transformation, and a lot of times the 2700 attack is relevant. That's actually what's most important about Apex Avian, in my opinion, in this specific build. Against Burning Abyss, for example, you'll want to pull this out sometimes just to sit on it, and they won't be able to get over it unless they make a Virgil or an awkward Acid Golem or something. And then you play one Murmillo. This is kind of like an extra Hanzo, where you get a +1 whenever it's normal summoned and whenever it's special summoned. So it's basically just kind of boosting my count of Hanzos, essentially is what it's doing. It's also pretty good against the Clifford matchup, being able to just pop stuff. Triple Rhoda and triple duality, consistency is king. Triple MST, you need against Clifforts. And it's usable against the other decks. Sometimes it's dead against Shaddolls, but what are you going to do? And then Triple Stormforth. This is one of the best monster removal cards in the game. It doesn't destroy and it doesn't target. And it's a spell speed 2 that actually does come up. So it's really, really good. This is basically what makes any tribute deck work at this point. Snatch Steel, it's basically a better Stormforth, because in this deck, if your opponent doesn't have anything worth stealing, you can just steal it and tribute it for Majesty's Fiend. But it's better because you can, if they have like a construct, for example, you can steal it and then just attack them for 28. So yeah, the Snatch Steel is obviously good. Soul Charge is really good. It's not quite as good here as it is in Miss Valley Ninjas, but it's still worth playing. Book of Moon is one of the best traps. You definitely want to have this against Burning Abyss. Transformation, the card you're searching off of Hanzo to get your card advantage. You can use this to summon Avian, Murmillo, or Red Dragon Ninja. 2 Call the Haunted and 2 Oasis. So in Miss Valley Ninjas, you want your traps to float, so you can return them to the hand of Falcon. You don't play Falcon in here, so the fact that Call the Haunted floats is actually a downside. So Oasis, it gets a little bump here because it leaves the field when the monster leaves the field. The reason I'm playing 2 of this instead of 3 and 1 is because summoning the monster in attack position is straight up better in like 80% of the situations where it comes up. So yeah, I find that's the right balance. And 4 is pretty good. The special summoning, what you do usually with these cards is you special summon Hanzo. Hanzo will give you a plus, and then you'll tribute off Hanzo. So this and Stormforth are your main ways of tribute summoning in this deck. 2 Vanity's Emptiness, one of the best traps. You kind of need it against Burning Abyss and Shaddolls to have a chance, but it's terribly dead against Clifforts, so you don't play 3. 2 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, cash in on bouncing the Apex Avian back to your hand. Again, it's also one of the best traps. It's actually still good, and almost no traps are still good at this point, so that's saying something. Warning and Bottomless, 2 also pretty good traps. This is an out to Denko, obviously, and this is also obviously the only target for Murmillo. The other targets aren't worth playing, and the 1-to-1 ratio is fine. You don't really dead draw Murmillo like ever. And then 1 Wiretap and 1 Dust Tornado. This is mainly for Clifforts, and this is mainly for Burning Abyss and Satellar Knights. And they're both useful in most matchups. I like having the extra bit of spell trap hate. The side deck is pretty similar to Miss Valley Ninjas, but there's a few differences that are pretty noteworthy, I think. So you're running the Dark Simorg plus Anti-Spell Fragrance against Clifforts. That's still an auto win, so you're going to take that auto win if you can get it. And the Anti-Spell Fragrance is still good against them. DD Warrior Lady, searchable removal that doesn't target or destroy, and it's good against Shaddolls and to a lesser extent Burning Abyss. Wing Yu is really good against Burning Abyss. It's not as good as it used to be. So currently they have 2 monsters with more than 1400 attack. So if they summon any other monster besides those 2, it dies. But they can get around this by using Sir and one of the new ones. I don't remember which new one. One of the new ones has 1500 attack, I think. So, yeah, they can play around Wing Yu, but it can be tough. And Wangu is good here because you can special summon it straight from the deck with transformation, because this is a beast. So that's pretty good. A lot of times what'll end up happening is they'll try to special summon one from their hand, and then you'll chain transformation, and then you'll summon Wangu, and their monster will summon and die immediately. And they won't get any effects because they already used the effect to special summon it. So that's kind of like just like a 3+1, and it also stuns them. The only time this doesn't really work is when they summon either Sir or the one with 1500 attack. So that can be kind of annoying when they do that. Regeki, it's pretty good against most decks. I bring this in a lot. It's kind of like, if you have Majesty's Fiend, it's good because the monsters don't float anymore. So there's that. And then Wiretap, it's good against Satellite Knights primarily. That's the main thing. And then Vanity's Emptiness, you bring this in against everything that's not Clipboards. Macro and Soul Drain are obviously Burning Abyss and Shaddoll. Burning Abyss and Shaddoll obviously with Compulse. And then Fairy Wind is actually a card that I don't play in Mist Valley Ninjas. You basically can't play it in Mist Valley Ninjas. But it's actually pretty good here because the fact that your cards are floating, like I said earlier, that's a minus. You don't actually want them to be floating. And so this kind of clears out your back row for you. And it's obviously good against Cliff Force. That's what you're siding it against. And also destroying this allows you to banish it with Red Dragon Ninja, so you don't have to banish your ninjas from your grave, because you prefer to banish the trap, which does nothing for you in the grave. And then one Chaos Trap will protect the second. And then the extra deck is not super relevant. You mainly go into this with Upstart Golden Ninja, so you'll make like one rank 4 per game, if that. And this is almost exactly the same as whatever they're called, Mist Valley Ninjas in terms of the extra deck. So I'm just going through them slowly, so in case you don't know any of them. I would like to point out the two that are the most used at this point are Castel and Exiton. And then I do play Constellar Ptolemy M7 because I can make this if I have 2 Red Dragon Ninjas on board, which is pretty good. I've made this like twice ever. Once it didn't matter that I made it, and the other time it was good that I made it, but not necessary. So it's there. If you have 2 level 6s, you can make it. So that was my Tribute Ninja deck. It's pretty good. So if you want to try something new with ninjas, I would recommend it. Just try not to face too many meta decks, because it's not the right meta right now, unfortunately. But hopefully you enjoyed the deck profile. If you did, be sure to check out some other stuff.